Welcome back for another video. So where do we begin here? Well, the international break obviously threw up a few injuries, and then we had the FA Cup which threw up a few surprises, and we've now got a very strong idea of who actually doubles in Gameweek 33. And on top of that, Haaland subbed off injured in the FA Cup as well, so there's loads to think about, and it's actually starting to look like a tipping point for a lot of teams and using the wildcard. So I thought I'd put together a video off the back of all of this. Although my wildcard's not going to be active till Gameweek 31 in all likelihood, I know lots of you have already asked for a Gameweek 30 wildcard video, and even more so now Haaland's a doubt for Gameweek 30. So we've got a wildcard team to run through here, with the intention to basically cover all the bases there. Like first of all, we've got Double Gameweek 32, that's locked in for Crystal Palace and Newcastle. So that's a week that we're going to want to target in the near future. And now we've got the Gameweek 33 predicted Double Gameweek fixtures, so let me run you through those. The expectation is that Gameweek 34's blanks move back into Gameweek 33. The reason Gameweek 34's a blank is because it clashes with the FA Cup semi-finals. So for Gameweek 33 it's expected to be Arsenal, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace and Man City that double. So yeah, 4 teams with a potential double game week, and the same 4 with a blank game week expected straight afterwards. Arsenal's double would be Ipswich away, Palace home. Villa's double would be Newcastle home, Man City away. Palace's would be Bournemouth home, Arsenal away. And lastly, Man City's would be Everton away, Villa home. Forest and Brentford are currently scheduled to blank in Gameweek 34 on the ticker. However, their Gameweek 33 fixture, Forest this is scheduled to play on Monday, which means there's no room to actually schedule it in Gameweek 33 midweek for them. Since they've got that Monday fixture, there wouldn't be enough of a gap between games. So the Premier League might just move the fixture for Forest and Brentford from the weekend in Gameweek 34 to midweek in Gameweek 34, and therefore remains a single game week for them, so they're not on here. This all might be announced before the Gameweek 30 deadline, if not, likely to be before the Gameweek 31 deadline. So let me get to the point. I've built a Gameweek 30 wildcard with all this in mind, and in my case, I've still got the bench boost as well, so the intention with this draft is to bench boost in Gameweek 33. If you've used your bench boost already, then you don't have to worry about your bench so much, just invest less money there basically. So let's get into the team. In goal, I've stuck with the ever reliable Raya. In the immediate term, he's got nice fixtures. He's top of the Gameweek 30 clean sheet odds home to Fulham. Then he's got Everton and Brentford before that probable Gameweek 33 double. Be an amazing double game week for Arsenal if they do get it, and tripling up would be an absolute no-brainer there. You will notice with this draft actually, there's only double Arsenal, which is the opposite of what I've just said, but you might be able to piece together why it's on double Arsenal, not triple. In my view, double Arsenal defence is the best way to approach that likely double game week, as opposed to going one defender or Raya and 2 midfielders. The Arsenal mids just haven't been as reliable this season beyond Saka. Who remembers that 22-23 season when Martinelli got almost 200 points? And likewise Ødegaard smashed it, but yeah, this season the value's clearly defenders. I mentioned in my team selection video that despite the rumours of a Vardy injury, he did go back out in extra time against France before getting subbed, which suggested he was alright. Unfortunately, he was straight back in the starting 11 for Man City in the FA Cup as they knocked Bournemouth out. He's really the only City defender that I remotely like, to be honest with you. Like Ruben Diaz and Kuzanov might be okay if you're in a pinch for money, but Vardy was just so much better. And lastly, Livramento. There's actually a bunch of options in that Newcastle defence, despite the Hall injury as well. Like Burns is a great option as well, and of course Trippier. Huge aerial threat Burn. He obviously scored in the League Cup final, and he's nailed in centre back. Livramento is looking nailed as well in fairness, even when Hall was around. But yeah, if you've got the money, Trippier is a crazy upside differential. He is 5.6 mil, which is a bit pricey. He's only 3.5% owned, and we know how high his ceiling is when he's on it. I mean, clearly overall he's on a decline as a player, but he's still got the most goal threat of the defenders there. So onto midfield, which is Eze, Salah, Kluivert and Palmer. We've come full circle with Eze. Like, who remembers how frustrating he was earlier in the season? I mean, it's partly not his fault. Like, there was that brilliant free kick he scored. I think it was against Brentford, and the ref blew by mistake just before it went in, and he had to be chalked off. I had him that week, so annoying. He scored for England over the break as well, and he looked phenomenal in the FA Cup as they progressed to the semi-finals. And he's got Southampton next. So yeah, Haaland's seen leaving the Bournemouth game on crutches, and that's pretty much throwing the no Salah strategy out the window. If you're one of those that sold Salah to get Haaland last game week, then really unlucky, especially if Haaland's injury does rule him out for Game Week 30. And I guess that's a reason to potentially consider the wildcard this week if you've got some other issues combined in your team as well. And the thing is, like, it's not even like Liverpool got a bad fixture in Game Week 33. It's Leicester away, and he's probably going to outscore many doublers that week. So we've kept Kluivert in the draft despite no expected double game week, and I'll explain why in a minute. In the meantime, it's actually Ipswich home next, which in honesty is a great fixture, and then he's got West Ham away, Fulham home, and then if you've got the available transfers, then you sell him in gameweek 33 for Rodgers when Villa have got that very likely double game week. There is a bit of a benching nightmare of this draft though, so you could alternatively get Rodgers straight off the bat and bench him and save a transfer. So Palmer, now hear me out on this one. Like, I know someone's already left a comment like, bro, put Palmer in a wildcard. The thing is, like, where do you spend the money first of all with Haaland potentially injured? And it's Spurs home as well, great fixture. Gameweek 32, Ipswich home as well, which is an incredible fixture. And further to that, the plan with this draft is to only have Palmer for a few weeks. You sell him for Saka in gameweek 33 for Arsenal's likely double. It potentially lines up perfectly actually. Like, Saka's just returning from injury now. We're about 3 weeks away from double gameweek 33, and the hope is that Saka's a starter by then. If he's not, then cross that bridge then. Like, you could go for Haaland instead. Let's do the front three then. So it's Marmoush, Isak and Mateta. I think this might be the staple wildcard front three. If Haaland is out for a game or two, then Marmoush I think it's going to be the latest bandwagon. Maybe Haaland misses more than a few games, given the crutches. He was rested in the FA Cup, named on the bench, and he scored as soon as he came on, in fact pretty much his first touch, and it's Leicester home next. He's definitely a minute's risk a bit longer term, but there's just so much you can do with no Haaland, with all that extra money, and just moving that money around to the likes of Palmer, Salah, and all the other premium assets really. I know lots of you aren't even on a wild card, but I imagine Marmoush and Mateta are going to be really popular Wood replacements this week. So yeah, Isak's one of the most obvious ones. He's got great fixtures, Brentford home as well. I've actually got him vice captain here, Salah captain. And then it's Leicester, again brilliant fixture, double gameweek 32, Villa and then Ipswich home. Now if you have used your free hit already, then Newcastle assets are particularly essential because they've got Ipswich home in gameweek 34. And that's when the teams that we expect to double the week before will blank immediately afterwards. Mateta admittedly had a quiet game in the FA Cup on his return from injury. Great to see him back though. And Ketia scored as well after coming on, but I just think Mateta's got to be in your wildcard given it's Southampton and that double game week coming up. One thing to point out is that if you have used your free hit, then you do have to be a bit careful how all in you go on double game week assets. Like, you'll see the black box under players there, which is the blanks that have already been announced. So yeah, it's just double gameweek 33 that we're actually waiting on the confirmation from once they've officially decided where to move the blanks to. So for example, someone like Evan Nilsson instead of Marmoush could be better from gameweek 30. He's better for expected minutes longer term and he has no blank in 34. And likewise, some of the bench players aren't particularly high ceiling in the double game week, so you can swap them out if you've used your free hit. So onto the bench quickly then, it's Martinez, Sarr, Burn and Wan-Bissaka. So yeah, if you've used your free hit, then obviously Martinez is a no-go because that leaves you keeperless in gameweek 34. Instead, I'd probably buy Pope from Newcastle and then just swap one of Burn or Livramento out. I mentioned earlier, there is a bit of a bench nightmare here. We've got Sarr first on the bench, who's obviously got Southampton. Realistically, like, who would you actually bench for him though? Therefore, if you just wanted to get a move ahead of the curve, then you could swap Kluivert for Rodgers already on the wildcard and then just put Sarr in the starting 11. But it is triple Palace attack, that's the one caveat for the next 2 game weeks. Who remembers that Palace double game week though, when Elise, Eze and Mateta were all cooked? Like, it can work. I had all 3 that week, but yeah, it's a bit all in. Like, if they don't score against Brighton in game week 31, then you're going to get, what, 6 points from the 3 players, something like that. I've got Wan-Bissaka in as well for bench boost purposes. No double game week for West Ham, but he does have Southampton home that week. So the plan is Palmer to Saka a bit later, assuming that double game week 33 happens, which is very likely, and assuming Saka's fit by then of course and starting games in a few weeks time. The other move to keep in mind is Isak to Watkins in game week 33, and that gets you the triple up on Villa for the double. So this draft gets you 6 doublers in game week 32, and then it's 11 doublers in game week 33, so just one short of the maximum possible. Drop a comment below of your thoughts on wildcarding this week, especially leave a comment if yours is active already or you're about to activate it. Are there any players that I'm missing here? The one name that does spring to mind is Gordon. Now he is suspended for game week 30, but I believe he's back for the Leicester game, which is a nice fixture. So if you get him on the wildcard, then obviously you have to bench him this week. Murphy could work obviously, but does he definitely get good minutes in a double game week when Barnes is an option? Probably, but just not 100%. But I think he's only about 5 million, so yeah, Murphy's a nice option as well. Hit subscribe if you do appreciate the late upload on a Sunday night, and drop a like as well. There's more FPL content to come before the deadline. See you soon for the next one.